Now, when it comes to Drake, well, now, if you were ready to see how a 40-year-old man just bedazzled a jacket to diss Kendrick Lamar and send another message to everybody, listen, it's getting really hard to even tolerate these things at this point, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because really, I am gonna need it, as with the point that Drake has just sunk the OVO Circus 2 with his latest move and latest show, I mean, while we have already seen the strangest things just come to fruition, really now, with how far things have gone, there is no other way to put it, but whether Drake has realized it or not, he has created his own tour of humiliation rituals. And now listen, before we get any more into this, I'm gonna need the support on this one, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe, because now with the latest stop in Drake's Some Loser Songs for You Lames that actually would go to this thing tour, Drake did something that the people that he hung around when he was doing Degrassi probably did, or the Stranger Things cast that he would text boy advice to, because seriously, to really step out into your show and the musical arena for the entire world to see in a time where your songs are flopping, your name value is dropping, and the Iceman is melting, well, to walk up and respond to all the pressure and once again try to diss Kendrick Lamar within the weird ways that we have seen. Well, on one hand, what we are finding out is that Drake is really serious about having a round 2 with Dodd, but not by saying his name or doing anything like that, but just by making these beacons and signals of insanity and nothing else. And really now, Drake's brain is clearly so fried that he isn't focused on making the best music he can, and of course he is so scared of Kendrick that at the same time as he is building an entire world of media and moments around him, he will never say his name directly. And now with all of this for Drake, instead of sharing how much he watches Disney movies to obsess over Kendrick, and he tries to play all these mental gymnastics to diss him to his fans, but try to never let Kendrick know, because of course he never wants that next track to drop. Well, now with all of this and with all of these pathetic games, Drake has managed to outdo himself here and make all the grown people who call themselves the Icemen for the Iceman show more than ever that they have the maturity level that he does, because seriously, what Drake did to address the growing pressure and tension within these shows and to add more insight into whatever he is planning with this round 2, well, first off, his fans are hyping this up and acting like he just dropped Ether or something, and what this is showing is that at this point Drake could literally do anything and he could do no wrong in the eyes of his fans, which is definitely not good. It definitely plays into the idea more and more that Drake is becoming that guy that we keep calling him the hip-hop version of. And now really, there has never been more proof of this, as now beyond all of the optics, ideas, and insanity that these people are believing in, Drake is leading a new wave by starting to make actual merchandise and clothing for people to express how insane they are. And now this is where things are just gonna get bad and insane, because what Drake did now to address everything was bedazzle a jacket like he was the age of that person that he should have never brought on the stage, and with this jacket that he probably got from somebody's home ec class, because we know the type of timing you're on, Lawbray, it said, "I know what they did last summer," in the Iceman font package or text, I guess, and with this, well, for Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, the Pop Out concert, and everybody who went there, and anybody who enjoyed these moments and likes rap music, well, if you have not figured it out, a 40-year-old man has made a jacket and is dissing us all with it to show that he did not approve of what happened last summer, and he knows that the biggest rap song in years and years dropped. First off, we know you knew it dropped because you didn't just respond to it with one of the worst response tracks of all time, but you constantly came out every week and just devalued your brand and made yourself a walking circus back then, and have only continued that now, so we know you have seen literally everything. And so with this, I have to ask, are we supposed to be scared by a bedazzled jacket? Is Kendrick supposed to run away and try to do something ridiculous? And is anybody supposed to be intimidated in the slightest by this? Because seriously, is Drake bedazzling a jacket supposed to make anybody just question anything of what has happened over the last year and even flinch? Because seriously, let's just look more into this and see how Drake tried to make this the theme of the entire show here. Because with Drake flexing this and showing this off the entire show, and now his fans are going crazy, well, now whether Drake is trying to say he will win round 2 or whatever he is alluding to within that, or he's trying to play more into the conspiracy slop over Not Like Us and is trying to act like he has this rabbit in a hat, where after even more research on this whole Kojo situation and Drake's quote-unquote time travel and crystal ball diss from Family Matters, well, no matter what Drake says and no matter what he does, we know that the whole thing with the nowhere to hide bar and Drake knowing that this was all a setup is is fake, and this was another example of diss slop that Drake just arrogantly put in there thinking he had this thing in the bag. And really, just to see what Drake is alluding to, and when you actually understand that even with this most recent thing that the Lawbreeze keep trying to run around and annoy all of the people who are enjoying good hip-hop with, well, when you just see that Drake literally has nothing on Kendrick Lamar and keeps trying to act like he does, you really just see the problem that is ruining Drake and is never going to help his career one bit, and is only going to make him have one of the worst fall-offs in the history of music, which is now one of the most baffling things that I have ever witnessed. And the fact that Drake is now doubling, tripling, quadrupling, and more at this point down on all of it shows how, despite the all-time whooping that he has gotten in his career, while Karen is still banking on the same strategies of having empty, arrogant slop to try and win him just about anything. Because if you have not made sense of all of this, from the fact that for literally over a year now to this very show, where we have reached the point where the disses are involving Drake bedazzling a jacket, well, within this, Drake is still acting like he has this big red button in this major diss that he is going to pull something out with, and it's going to shock everybody and reveal this truth. And yet, of course, at the same time, every single moment we look into things where Drake actually has to hold up to the things he is promising, he just fails and has nothing. What we are seeing is that Drake is learning the methodology that the greatest grifters and leaders of lame used to keep their awful fan bases and groups in line with, which is just at this point to keep dissing and acting like they are this mastermind, and yet they have absolutely nothing, and they will never hold themselves accountable for the things they promise. And really now, as the people who support Drake are so locked into this, as again, by just bedazzling a jacket, they are acting like he dropped ether or something like that. You see, the problem is with people roaring about this, and there being arenas of people who are coming out to these shows and doing karaoke for the lame man. Well, what this puts into perspective and what is going to keep making Drake a loud and annoying problem is just this base of people, because while Drake may never reach the podium again, he still has solidified a place amongst the most annoying of losers that we are just going to see him stand on the side and continue to yell for the rest of eternity, it feels like. And so really with this, as we are at a point where Drake is making entire jackets to diss Kendrick Lamar, and no longer is this just a spite show where everything lingers around the idea and impact of what he did, but Drake is now making merch into this thing to just send more and more messages, and he also made shirts that he wants people to own so they can double down on their support for Drake, and people know that they don't like Kendrick Lamar and they believe whatever lies he is spewing. I mean, really, when we see how much of a low we are at, to see Drake just doubling down on this round 2, the vague disses in songs that are all going to be about Kendrick, and then entire concept albums which are building fictional worlds around the idea of what Kendrick did. Well, now to do all that and bedazzled jackets which are showing how much you don't like another grown man, what Drake is making clear is that he's not just fried, but he is so petty that he is forever intertwining himself with Kendrick Lamar, and he really does not seem to care about the potential consequences of how this can ruin every single thing he has ever done. Because really now, while Drake is acting like he thinks this is all going to end up well for him and it will benefit his career and name in the long run, listen, you're wearing bedazzled jackets to try and respond to the biggest conflict we have seen in the history of rap and maybe even music in decades between two artists as a whole. And when you just see this and see how Drake's hand has nothing, we can just see that his entire career is on a ticking timer which will eventually go off, and he will just lose everything when it does, because Drake has really now put his career in a place where he is just straight up lying on another man's name so bad, and at the same time, while Kendrick probably has stuff on him, Drake really has nothing. And really, when we look at it like that, Drake is just actually doing the thing that he says Kendrick is doing to him. So while Drake is trying to intimidate people and say, I know what they did last summer, and do whatever he can by dissing people with a jacket, really the only thing that he is going to achieve here with this train wreck of a show, diss, and moment is make us remember him in the long run for how he ended and soiled his entire brand forever in the current summer that we are in and with the current tour that we are all witnessing. Because again, to just really prepare for your downfall the way we are seeing, because we know you have nothing because you keep failing. Well, it's showing that once again there is going to be another time where the entire world is just going to see Drake lose to Kendrick Lamar, and with how much he has already lost, well listen, I don't think he's going to come out with anything this time. And so now with all this said, let me know, what do you think about this recent show that Drake has just done, these absolutely atrocious disses that we have seen him send Kendrick's way, and what do you think is going to happen with all of this going forward, and what this entire message Drake trying to send is really about? Now, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about all this. Now, if you made it to this point in the video, you know what to do. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. It helps me out so much. And now, if you want to see how before this, well, Drake wants to start a round 2 with Kendrick Lamar for real, and it's not going to end well, check out the suggested video.